here, no Storm stuff, not that we'll talk about on here, to our Sounders who split points in Nashville. So it's not a loss. As we've talked about so many times with this Sounders team, it's not a loss. So that's fine. Maybe not so much when you know that if the Sounders had recorded all 3 points in this match, then they would have clinched their playoff spot. But again, I digress. Sorry, folks, trying to stay awake here. Our player of the match, I went with Reed Baker Whiting on the left side. Again, the Sounders graphic the other day when he was in the team of the match day for the MLS had him as a midfielder, but he's being listed on the lineup as like a left wing back. So we're going to go with that. Reed, an 8.0 match rating, which actually led the entirety of the match. 90 minutes played. He played all 90 minutes, an 80% passing percentage. He doesn't get. Oh, wait, this is a scoreless draw. I apologize. Oopsie. Yeah, an 80% passing percentage, 70 touches, 13 passes into the final third, which doesn't 13 is a lot. Like I see a good match typically, it's like single digit passes into the final third. So to see 13 is pretty wild. He won 3 of his 5 tackles, 2 clearances, 8 recoveries is big there. 89% of his ground duels won though, which is big. So I apologize for having the 1-1 up there. It was a 0-0 draw, scoreless draw. So yeah, Nashville's good. Nashville's a good roster. They've got a good club over there. The club was without Albert Rusnak. If we look at the availability report, Sota Kitahara continues to be out with a left quad strain. Nuhu is out with a card suspension. Cody Baker was questionable in concussion protocol, and Albert Rusnak was questionable with an illness. Jordan Morris was not with the club for this draw, as he and his wife had welcomed a new child, I believe it was, which is very cool. Yeah, I'm fine with that. You know, it's a point. Again, it's going into that environment, going down to Nashville, playing this roster, and you're without Morris. Real Ruidiaz did not play in this match. He was originally in the starting lineup, but because of, as the Sounders listed it, back pain, he was a very late scratch, like very close to kickoff, and Hebert took over up there. Did not mean to rhyme, I promise you. And so you end up with the point, which I'm fine with. Personally, I'm fine with. It's just these next few matches at home. You've got 2 matches at home here where that's not acceptable. You know, you've got an opportunity to really kind of lock yourself up in terms of seating higher in the West. You've got to be able to take that advantage and go ahead and be like, all right, you know, we can't afford to just let this pass by, get just the 1 point. The scenario is still in play where if things go right, and a good amount of things would need to go right, the Sounders can pass St. Louis City and have the number 1 spot in the West. I don't think it's happening. I believe Seattle would need to win the next 2 matches and need some help from St. Louis losing. Who knows? I've seen crazier things happen with this club. So the Sounders sit at a 12-win, 9-loss, 10-draw record. They're at 46 points right now, which is fine. It's fine for right now. But we look at the table here. We'll look at the table. Because of Real Salt Lake having more wins on the season, they've got 13 to the Sounders 12. Despite those teams being tied in points, Real Salt Lake is second in the Western Conference, and Seattle is third. LAFC is right behind Seattle with 45 points, 1 point behind. Houston is 2 points behind Seattle with 44. And Vancouver, who again will play this upcoming week, is 3 points behind with 43. And so is Portland. Portland has 43 as well. Oh, goodness. St. Louis. Oh, wait. I don't know if actually that's true. I don't know if the Sounders can catch St. Louis anymore. So I'm not worried about that. Yeesh. Yeah. Ooh, who's Real Salt Lake? Well, look at Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake has to play Sporting Kansas City, LA, and Colorado. So that road's not really that tough for them going forward. LAFC has to play Minnesota, Austin, and Vancouver. Not that tough. So Seattle has arguably one of the harder sort of paths to the playoffs. So I don't know. It'll be very interesting. You're ideally going to want to be back at full strength. have Rusnak hopefully available, ready to go. Morris, it's tough with Raul. I know a lot of people have opinions on it, whether to buy him out or yeah, it's going to be tough with Raul. We know what Raul can do when he's healthy, and we know that availability is the best thing that you can give to a head coach. Two of these things can be true. So, anyway, the next few matches, as I mentioned, 12 wins, 9 losses, 10 draws for the Sounders there, sitting at 46 points, third in the Western Conference at the moment, ninth in the entirety of the MLS. I believe Cincinnati's already clinched the Supporters Shield. Looking ahead, the next two matches, October 4th, Wednesday versus the LA Galaxy. This is a 7:30 p.m. Pacific time kickoff. That's a big one. Again, you want to get all these points. You're playing back at home. You're playing a team that right now is sitting at second to last in the Western Conference with only 35 points. You got to take advantage. You got to take advantage. You got to get all 3 points. No ifs, ands, or buffs about it. And then their next match of the week is October 7th versus the Vancouver Whitecaps at home. This is also a 7:30 start. 7:30? 7:30 start against the Whitecaps. The Whitecaps, as I mentioned, they're close. They are sitting at 6th in the Western Conference in points with 43. That is the final home match of the regular season. Vancouver also has already clinched Cascadia Cup because of results earlier in the season for the Sounders and Portland. So that sucks. But yeah, both of these big matches. And then um, by the time we get to that last week of the regular season where the Sounders will head over to St. Louis to play that club, it might not matter. That result might not matter per se. But with decision day, and how wild that is and all, yeah, it probably will. So I take my words back on that one. Big last 3 weeks for the Sounders as they continue to make their playoff push. 2 games at home. So if you're able to come out, check those out. 7:30 starts. It's a little bit later than I'm sure a lot of people would like, but again, very important as they try to push for a playoff spot. And keep positive momentum rolling. I would say that recently, because of how they've played, they've got some positive momentum.